All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another fresh edition of Cricket Vana. We had a fantastic and exciting IPL 2020 in UAE. We took a small break as well, along with India and Australian cricketers. And now we are back and mainly again focusing on India's tour down under. We already had one ODI. India had a, a bit of a setback. The second game begins in 1 hour's time. So we'll discuss more on what happened in first game, what else can happen, what needs to change. Or is this going to be a long tour? And is this what we are? Should we brace ourselves for more of these? We had an exciting week actually. Starting with India Australia first ODI, some good batting, of course, on a road of a pitch in Sydney. Of course, all the IPL flops woke up. Maxwell, Smith, Finch, and then in India it was the usual suspects from the IPL. Dhawan and Hardik. Nothing much to say from Indian bowling side. Not much from Australian bowling as well. It was just regularly getting wickets, mainly from, of course, the first three from Hazelwood and then Zampa. Just, I think, nothing, nothing bamboozling or anything, but I think he just got it because they were going for for a big chase. Anyway, let's go around. We have Somu, uh, Vinay, and then Vinod, and of course Sridhar, our mastermind. So with that, Somu, your first impression of the first ODI and the team.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, it showed the wicket plays a lot in one day cricket, in any cricket for that matter, and a home field advantage does mean something to them. And obviously, when they ಎಲ್ಲ ತುಂಬಾ ದಿವಸ ತುಂಬಾ ಕ್ರಿಕೆಟ್ ಆಡಿದ್ರು UAE ನಲ್ಲಿ. The wicket was a little different. As soon as you go, there's a little bit of a bounce and a pace, makes it a little bit harder to cope up. Again, being professionals, you expect them to transition right away, and also they were there for about good 15, 18 days before they played their first game. Generally less than a week they play their first game. So uh, now they had a lot more, but somehow it didn't turn out to be the way it did. Obviously we can talk about specific players and everything else, but I think the whole thing that centered around you know uh, a certain wicket they played in UAE versus the wicket they're playing in Sydney. I think that really had a tremendous effect on both their bowling and batting. And also the way I thought uh, they bowled and batted was a little indifferent. A lack of better word, I'm using it. Little indifferent.
Yeah.
Um, Everybody's talking about five bowlers, six bowlers, or whatever. That's that again. They're trying out. I don't have a problem in them losing a game. It's just a matter of learning from losing the game what they need to get better at and what they need to strategize a little bit differently is what I'm thinking. Although I think that's what I'm focusing on rather than a big win or lose. What obviously Shaker Dhawan did a good display. He was dropped once or twice, I believe.
Yeah.
Although Mayank Agarwal impressed me the short innings that he played.
What a
Uh,
six.
uh, so I think Hardik, oh my God, the power that he produces from wherever, it's unbelievable. But the batting of Steve Smith probably had I think I have never seen him play much better, any better than that. And he had probably the third highest, third quickest 100 from an Australian, I believe, something like that. More
Yeah.
than that, the way he batted was probably exemplary in my opinion. Finch batted beautifully. Warner batted beautifully. I mean, it was, and also, God, Maxwell just woke up and got a 48 or 45 with 19 balls. That was exciting. I mean, that's the Maxwell we have seen.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we couldn't see him in the IPL. Again, a lot of it due to the wickets, and again, there are a lot of things about it, just not one thing, obviously.
Yeah.
So I think just now that's what I'm going to go with, and probably I'm going to add a little bit more when you all pitch in your thoughts and what's going on and what's going and what we can expect.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, I agree with all your observations. I think it was quite obvious in the sense how they prepared or selected the team and the way they played. Yes, I mean hopefully, usually India when they travel, it's from many years they have been like their first, especially they always used to start with test series and they would get badly beaten in the first test and then try to salvage some pride in the in the later tests of the series where of course they wouldn't win the series as regularly. But hopefully, I mean, this is one day, so I mean this is if we just we can just hope that this is their worst game of the tour, then we are in for some exciting cricket. Vinay.
Yeah, not much to add. I mean, I think we'll probably spend a lot of time, getting into what India did wrong and what they can improve, right? I think obviously we'll get into the whole five bowlers versus another sixth bowler, or we'll probably get into their poor fielding, even the fact that their batsmen, didn't show quite, enough intent. I mean, they played great, but they just got out. Like they got great starts and then they got out, but before we get into all that, I mean, I'll maybe just talk about Australia. I think that was probably one of the perfect ODI innings that you can ask for. Right, you have your openers in Warner and you have Finch that set a fantastic foundation. They played very patiently in the beginning. Probably less than a run a ball, and the point was that they stayed and they didn't lose any wickets, and then unfortunately, I mean, Warner got out. I saw that live, and I didn't think it was out. To be honest, I was very surprised they called that out. Who knows? He probably would have accelerated, but it's okay. Steve Smith came, probably one of the best hundreds I've ever seen that he played. It was amazing to watch his innings, and like we mentioned Maxwell and his ridiculous hitting there, and all in all, they just the pace they did the innings at, and the total they put up at the end, it was phenomenal. And that's even with losing wickets, with around the 45 over mark. They were only around 300 or 320 runs, and they still managed to put up 375 or whatever it was. So I just think it was a beautiful innings that they played, and it was almost a flawless ODI innings. And, it's difficult to chase something like that, even if you have the batting power, because of the mental aspect of what a large total. India got off to a flying start. I think that, they were something like 40, 50 runs in the first 3-4 overs. It was insane. And I thought, wow, now that they got the start and they're on top of the bowlers, they've caught up in the run rate, they can just be patient a bit. And right then they just all started, floundering. So I'm sure we can get into a little bit more of them later, but I'll take the, giving Australia the credit because they played a fantastic innings.
I think so. Yeah. I mean, when they put on 100-run opening partnership, I think India was always chasing the game, and they were never in it. They never looked like there was any turnaround. Even when the wickets fell for when Australian wickets fell, you never really felt like India is now back, or there will be a cluster of wickets or anything like that. It was just he fell, and there was another guy who just came in and started continuing. It was just a passing the baton in a relay. Like there was no slowing down or any momentum shift or anything like that. It was complete 100 over dominance. Even when maybe the first 5 overs, but you knew it's still a long way to go. And just the first 3 wickets, you can see like Somu was mentioning about the bounce. The first 3 wickets, right? All three, Agarwal, Kohli, and Shreyas, they all succumbed to that extra bounce, a little bit of extra bounce when they tried to come attacking. And again, even on the mode of attack, you felt they were still in kind of a T20 mode. It felt like they forgot that there's 50 over is quite a long way and you can time it. And it was a bit surprising even from Kohli to see that mistiming, not the shot, not just the shot, but the overall chase that he masterminds many times. There was I never seen Kohli being in such a hurry must say. But I mean, wow, the couple of shots that he played,
The
that
one flick to the
That flick.
flick
bounce
to the
six.
mid wicket and
Right.
Agarwal's cover drive six.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, not really cover drive, but I mean, yeah, on the six to the cover.
Lofted
Oh
cover.
man, those were two best shots of the day. Including 375 from Australia, you must say.
Right.
I don't know if Vinod is ready yet.
Yeah, but I want to add one quick thing, Appa.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, when you're talking about the bounce, see, look, that's what does it to you. An overseas tour to Australia with the bounce, an overseas tour tour to England with the seam movement will really catch these young people off guard. And the way that Shreyas Iyer got out, I mean, it's okay. He'll learn by that. I get, but the bat was dangling, his head was somewhere.
Yeah.
I think totally out of sync. That's a great bouncer, no question about it.
Yeah.
But why was the bat there? Was my question.
Yeah.
You have to drop the bat down. Drop the bat down. That's our this thing.
Could it be the extra pace that he was about to
correct
down?
No.
And it just,
I think extra pace for sure. That extra bounce is the one which got him. I think even if it was a little lesser, he would have probably gone back and that was the one thing. It really, again, he's very young. He's going to learn. Probably he's going to be another Kohli. Hopefully he is. But that's what does it to you. That little extra bounce, a little extra pace, and mind you, that bowler, who is that? I don't know. He was not the fastest bowler of the team either. Exactly. It was not Michael Stark coming at you.
Yeah.
Okay. I think that's where I think and the other thing which I thought Kohli was, he got runs. He was probably in a 20 over more. Yeah, I get it. But the one thing I don't understand is Finch played a beautiful captaincy.
Yeah.
Shot mid wicket right in there, and he bounced the ball. That was all planned, and that worked beautifully well. And also the thing was, if he was standing in the crease, he would have gotten hold of that ball much better. He would have hit over his head.
Talking about Finch and field placement, I must say he's one of the most underrated captains, especially the fielding side captain in the modern era. Like he's one of the best actually for me.
Absolutely
I mean,
the best.
I've seen even in World Cup and many a couple of last couple of years, he's been fantastic actually.
Fantastic.
And I mean for Shreyas Iyer in his first over when he got out, right? That if you see the field placements, it was not just to attack him, it was intimidating him, bullying.
Intimidation is a step.
I'll not let you score one run today.
Yeah.
Right? It was that kind of a field set for him.
In fact, he literally bounced out Kohli, though. He played a mind game. I think again, Kohli is a great batsman. No, I mean, when I'm saying this, I don't even think I'm being fair to him. See, I think Kohli feels that he's good, he's better, he can do that. Guess what? Finch clearly won the battle on that.
Yes.
And he just placed himself. Yeah. And also, when you see that, there's a deep mid wicket and a long on, not even long on, it's not long on, it's more like deep mid on. And there was a huge gap on it.
Yeah.
He invited him to get that. Look at that. That was perfectly planned attack. Yeah, and also he got away beaut. That flick of the thing was only Kohli can play that game shot. But the way he got out was a little disappointing because Kohli is better than that. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
So again, that's my 2 cents worth.
Should we again, going back to my previous comment that I was making about the first game of the a long tour, especially from India? How much of this loss can we just attribute it to that and say, okay, hey, it's just the first game, we are going to see a better team, better India soon? Or is that a precursor to what's going to happen for 2 long months? Oh, Vinod is here.
Let's
take that question, Vinod.
Yeah, so I think you guys covered most of the points, but most importantly, I think the lack of the sixth bowler hurt us. I think that's the
Thank you.
because
That's yeah.
the moment it's very natural, right? You decide to respect one bowler and you go after one person. So you typically go after one or two bowlers whenever you play a cricket. So this time they had an option that they were going to go after Sani or someone, and then you're stuck with who else is going to bowl and finish those overs. So that was one thing, and surprisingly, apart from Shami, none of the bowlers short ball ever bounced.
Mhm.
None of the bounces went up to the chest levels and stuff because
Just level.
Steve Smith was supposed to be struggling with short ball. Sani's short ball just came till here. He could actually not even till here, till the waist. He could just swat it
Yeah.
away like this. So I
ಎಲ್ಲಿ
was
ಬಟನ್
surprised.
ತಗೊಂಡ್ರೆ ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಅದು.
I was surprised that none of these guys. I'm worried about that we're not able to bounce the ball
Yeah.
in Australia. So that was a bit scary for me. That's the only thing that scares me for the next remainder of the series.
Mhm.
That
Yeah, Vinny, not going into the details. I also thought you see, no matter what team you're playing, you need a sixth bowler. I don't care even if you bowl 5 overs. Okay, you need a sixth bowler. Okay, it guaranteed, no question about that. But having said that, I've my this thing is you the, in a 5 bowler rotation, 1 or 2 are going to be not bowling well on any given day. Okay, that will not be their day. It's going to be 3 who is probably holding the bag for everybody. But in this situation, yesterday with Shami, none of them bowled well at all, honestly. So they leaked a lot of runs, and also they played
Bumrah's bowling was too ordinary. I think Bumrah
too
himself
ordinary.
was-
I mean, that was
down the
I
leg.
mean, I must say, Bumrah, for all of 2020, this was his 7th ODI, and it's easy to be, and I think, I mean, we all are. I mean, it's so short-sighted way of looking at him that, wow, I mean, he was almost the MVP for IPL, and he's always delivers, especially for Mumbai Indians, and even for India in T20s as well. But all 7 ODIs, he has not taken a single wicket in the first 10 overs this year, and he has gone more than 6 runs per over average all this year. And he's been pretty he's been very, very ordinary in ODIs all this year. I mean it's only 7 ODIs, yes, and also it's been
let me
many months of layoff. But again, is he as potent as he is in T20? Is that the stamina? But I mean, he's been a very good test bowler as well.
I think my take of all these bowlers is like, among the 5 bowlers, you might need 10 overs from all the 5. You need 10 overs from all the 5 bowlers. But the most important part is that you need 5 good overs from one bowler. It's all about 11 good deliveries, right? We didn't get a patch of 5 good overs. Honestly, the patch of 5 good overs was got by Jadeja actually, because he kept bowling faster, just keep coming back, and he got some good set of overs. Chahal looked promising in a few overs, but Chahal's one last over is with Maxwell, it went south.
Yeah.
But I think fundamentally, what my concern is that there is no fiery bowler who can give you that 5 overs of attack that can slow the opponent down. We just need 5 overs. Otherwise, one day we always know one day is made up of minimum of 2 to T20 matches.
Yeah.
Right? Pretty much it's like 50 overs. Teams want to play attacking 1 T20 innings. That's all they want. Either it's from the 30 to 50 over period, or it's from the 20 to 40 over period. They really don't care about the first 10 over period. Nobody cares about the first 10 over period anymore.
Unless you actually get an opener who can actually go at like 120 plus strike rate in the first 10 overs. Nobody really, the way you bat in the first 10 overs, it doesn't really even add much to the final total these days. It's all about what you do in the last 20 overs with the wickets in hand. I mean, you can be 30 overs, 130 for no loss, and that is still okay. You can cross 320 in 50 overs.
Kashyapa, let me add a couple of things to what you said about Bumrah. Okay, why he is, when you say T20 or whatever, what happens in T20 is completely different from what happens in 50 overs. The reason is field first 6 overs, that fielding, that's one thing. The second thing is they don't have to get runs in the first 3-4 overs. They have 10 overs, okay? And also, the field restrictions are completely different in 50 overs versus 20 overs, okay?
Yeah.
And also, they can play. And there is no like death overs. It doesn't mean a whole lot in 50 overs. And also, the first 5, 6, 10 overs doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
They could just block for the first 10 overs and then get after. And also, they can strategize, pick on one bowler that day who's not having a great day and get more runs. Then what happens is once you start leaking runs in one, the other side, for example, what Windy said was exactly right. Jadeja was pushing the ball. He was not flighting the ball. What it means is it takes away the ability to take wickets. Okay. Then you're not flighting. You're not enticing him to come out and hit and get us stumped out or hit over, because
it's a defensive move. You're
the boundaries are long. On a flighted delivery, if you miss it a little bit, not a lot, in Dubai it will go for a 6. This may not go for a 6 and they may catch.
Yeah,
So
it didn't actually. ನೀವು ಹೇಳಿದ್ ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್. For Chahal, ಎಷ್ಟೊಂದು ಹೋಯ್ತು. I mean, it didn't cross the boundary, but it fell in no man's land. There were a couple of drops, and
the other thing what happened is it pushed Jadeja, pushed the ball. Yeah. All they did was push it. They got runs, and see, the entire complexion of the game changes. Yen Bekondar, again, as Windy said, you need a 6 bowler. He can do something, a variety. It gives you a little bit of a variety, and he can plug in 5 overs. That's all. 5 overs for 28 runs, 30 runs, or whatever that is. He might not have to take a wicket. For example, 1 wicket here, 1 wicket there will change the game. Okay, I think that's where Bumrah and everybody is struggling, and also mind you, Shami is bowling really well because of the experience he has got. Bumrah doesn't have that wealth of an experience. Okay, then that's what happens. So you need something to relieve these people. Again, pressure again. Aurgu pressure.
And Saini, I must say, I mean, he has a lot of potential, and he couple months back, it could have been a great move, with Saini, and like you said, but even in IPL, right? I mean, he had an excellent first half of the IPL.
Yeah.
But you can see in the last 3-4 games, he was very ordinary.
Very ordinary, yeah.
But I think that just went, under the radar, and so they were. I don't know why. I mean, including Kohli and everybody, it was just that okay. They still had that. The best version of Saini in their mind, and said, okay, he can be a great bowler, but in this current form, he can. I mean, having Saini and Jadeja, for that matter, in your only 5 plan is not going to work.
And the lack of Dhoni's ability to behind the wickets to say a thing or two to field replacement or change the bowlers or a strategy, that kind of lacked, because the only one who could do it was Kohli yesterday. I don't think there's any. I mean, I'm sure KL Rahul was a part of it, but again, the brains of Dhoni was look, it all takes time. I know that. I don't want to Dhoni idrenu agade illa anta helakagala, but it takes time. But again, those are all the little factors that dominated by Australia. That's what happens in their home ground. Okay.
Exactly.
I think for me, the summary of the game was very interesting. The first thing was, when people play in Australia, right? When India team was there, everybody has a role to play, right? Bumrah has to bowl the Yorkers. That's all his job is: bowl high-speed Yorkers. And Jadeja was going to contain. Sani had to stick to a plan. The problem was Sani didn't stick to a plan, and Chahal had to turn into an attack. He didn't stick to a plan. He should either bowl short ball to people or should bowl them. And the other thing was, the effect of IPL was shown, especially for the Indian bowlers. The only way of slowing the batsman was bowling wide the crease. Wide of the crease. Right?
Yeah.
Those wide crease, but at the end of the day, we actually bowled 3 overs. Almost 3 overs of wides. Right? Extras. If you look at the extras, we played a 53-over game.
By the way, India was charged for slow over rate.
Slow over rate too.
Yeah, and they were fined 20% of the match fee. They could have, so apparently, I had completely forgotten in this, the context that, every ODI now is building up to a point system for the
Qualifiers
ranking,
for the World Cup.
for the ranking that will decide the World Cup qualifiers. I mean, luckily India is the host, so they are automatically being qualified. So the other top 7, so including India, only top 8 ranking, ranked teams will qualify, and the rest of the, I think the last 2 spots should be, should play a qualifier with the other 6 of the, the second league or whatever you call it. And same thing happened in 2019 too. Before 2019 World Cup, I think Sri Lanka and West Indies played this qualifiers or something.
Yeah, ಇದು ಸ್ಕಾಟ್ಲೆಂಡ್ ಗಿಟ್ಲೆಂಡ್ ಯಾವ್ದಾದ್ರು ಆಡಿದ್ರು
Yeah, Scotland, Namibia, Nepal, ಎಲ್ಲ ಆಡಿದ್ರು. Then you got Bangladesh. I think no, Bangladesh was number 8, so they qualified. I think West Indies and Sri Lanka, they had to go back and play with the other teams and come back.
Yeah, so
like that.
But coming back to the match that
Yeah.
day, right? Like you got whites and you got 3 overs extra, right? And the thing was that Sydney, I have known in Sydney very clear. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
In Sydney, I remember right from the days, Kapil Dev telling in a commentary, right? In Sydney, you don't save 2s. If a ball goes to 2, the mid-wicket boundary, it's a 2. There is no point in the fielder being 3/4 in a mid-wicket boundary or in a deep long on boundary. Never it has happened. Even in test matches, when people goes behind, right? They don't stand halfway fielder because it's a no man's land. You neither get catch nor you save a single or double. So the way Shikhar Dhawan dropped the catch, Shreyas was not there. Bumrah was not close to the ball. Exact same places where you are halfway inside the ground. I don't know why that field was set, because in Sydney it's very clear. You don't try to save the 2s. You save the 3s or you save the singles.
Right, exactly.
And then if you try
guaranteed, you're right.
Drop the catches. And it was very common. It is not that I'm like I'm doing some research and saying it is very commonly said.
Yes.
In Adelaide is different. Adelaide is different. You play for the hook and stuff. In Sydney, especially mid-wicket and stuff, they will make sure that you either stay in the boundary, or you be inside. So
and I don't know whether you saw when I was watching it, the wicket they played was not the center of the wicket. It was far right or left, wherever, depending on where. And even after the far right or left, wherever that, the boundary was in, and there was more place after the line. That way, there's such a big stadium. So as you said, you cannot save 2s there at all. There's no point. There's a strategy that you have to adapt. How do you place the field? Where do you place it? That's important. That becomes.
I think it's also part of the strategy, because I think they know that Indians are good 6 hitters on a shorter ground, but not so much in a bigger ground.
Clearing 6 will not be a problem even for the Indian batsmen. At the end of the day, right, in Australia, it is how you avoid the good balls. How do you avoid the good balls, and how do you field? That's all matters.
Yeah.
Today,
everybody cannot have passengers. I mean, you need 11.
You cannot have passengers.
You need all 11 to be in their top form, and you cannot just hide some players and just play with 2 superstar batsmen and a great. I mean, like it's in India. You can in India and Sharjah or Colombo, you can win a game with just Kohli, Rohit Sharma, and Bumrah. Maybe Chahal or Kuldeep, but. When you go to Australia, you need all 11. And I think you can also see in 2008, CB series, when the first time Dhoni's team beat Australia in the ODI, tri-series, he said, we cannot hide 3 passengers. So he dropped. I mean, he had made a point that, you will only play 2 out of Sehwag, Sachin and Gambhir. And said, you do the rotation. You tell me who's going to sit today. Right? I mean, they were the best 3 at that time, but I mean, he still said, okay, I'm not going to play all 3 of you in this tour. In Australian one-dayers, one of you has to sit out. And they put, he pushed like younger Rohit at number 5 or 6. There was Raina, Yuvraj. He packed the team with, I mean, talking about Yuvraj and Raina, I need to come back. So I mean, it links to this 5-bowler and 6-bowler strategy. Where are the Indian batsmen who can bowl these days?
No,
every batsman. So how do you even if you want a 6-bowler strategy, can you guys pick a team with 6 bowlers and 6 batsmen? I don't know. In this team, no. So that's the reason they're going with Jadeja, because they cannot just have Kulcha, right? Kuldeep and Chahal at the same time. And I
No,
mean, anyway, Kuldeep is a different
Tiwati is on
topic.
the tour, right? Tiwati is on the tour yesterday, right? Tiwati
Sorry?
is on the tour.
No,
Tiwati
Who?
is on the tour.
No,
Tiwati.
No,
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 not
Tiwari is
for
not there.
ODIs.
No,
He's
he's
not
not.
on the tour.
Tewatia is not there.
No,
He's in the
Only
T20 tour, right?
no,
no,
he's not.
no, not at all. Tewatia is not even in the picture.
Nope.
The
I was
only
thinking
other
about
the only bowler who may be able to put some bat onto the ball is Shardul Thakur. That's all.
Or Washington Sundar, but
I don't think Sundar is in the ODI team, but I
he's
mean
not.
he's
He's on
in
the
the
T20.
but I mean he's in the gang. I mean he's
Again, I don't know. I mean, maybe there's a strategy that they change. I don't know. I think, as you said, I don't know about Shardul Thakur's bowling. To me, he's a very ordinary bowler,
yeah.
and he might get to 20-30. I don't know what it is.
No.
Again, there is no Ben Stokes. Okay, there is no Sam Curran. There is no what's it, Marcus Stoinis. There is nobody there. In fact,
Yeah.
that's the problem.
Yeah.
I think the next guy available is you should groom Krunal Pandya. That's all. If Hardik Pandya is not playing, you have to groom Krunal Pandya.
Exactly. So I think the point I'm pretty sure Krunal Pandya would have been touring this time instead of Jadeja, but they had a very different result in IPL. And Krunal was very ordinary this year, I must say, including both in bowling and batting. And fortunately or unfortunately, Jadeja had an excellent batting season.
I don't think we should scrutinize Jadeja. Jadeja gives you something in the field, man.
I know, but do you want that?
We scrutinize him too much. I mean, you get something out of him every time, right? Leave him alone. You just get something out of him.
I know, exactly. That's why. So you
just send him first down. You just send him one down, make him a hitter, and try to get more runs out of it. But it's too unfair to him. He just contributes somewhere, sometime, right?
Exactly. Yeah, that's why. So I mean, what I'm getting at is, because you could not drop Jadeja at all, there was no point in having Krunal, because Krunal is a mini Jadeja. That's it, right? He fields pretty well. Not as great as Jadeja, but he's still a very, very good.
Look, you know what? The whole team is hurting because Hardik cannot bowl. Period.
Exactly. Yeah.
I think that's what's happening, because even in England, the last World Cup, he bowled a few overs. Okay,
so
he cannot bowl now.
If not for that, that series of unfortunate events in 2019, we could have seen Vijay Shankar today instead of Hardik Pandya. But I think like they say, I think that train has already sailed. So I don't think that.
You know what? Look, having seen that beautiful innings he batted, and they won the game after 2 down, improved.
Yeah, I saw it. Yeah.
You know what? I was very impressed with the way he batted, Gota.
No, but then again, sorry. I think even Vijay Shankar got injured, so he did not play a couple of the last games in IPL.
Yeah,
as well.
right.
So I think he's out of contention.
No, Nange, I had a completely different opinion about him when he was playing for India. But the way he batted that day, under the duress, against Berson out to Warner out to, that was a beautiful knock in my opinion. It's a very, very, and it was not a slogging or festival or whatever. He beautifully played very well in my opinion.
Yeah.
What do I
know? Is Shubham Dubey there this time?
Huh?
Shubham Dubey. For some reason, I still want to check with somebody. Like, why didn't Shubham Dubey even bowl in IPL? Was he also injured, or it was ridiculous to have him in the team as a specialist batsman.
When
he
and guess what? But Bangalore dropped him, but they did not keep him. They did not protect him.
Exactly. So I don't understand. So is there any other bowling all-rounder at all? If we don't have Hardik Pandya, so it's like
for me, Tiwati, groom him. Tiwati is the person, groom him.
Yeah.
That's it. You get pinch hit out of him for a few runs, get the next Jadeja. Who else is there? Tiwati is the person.
Yeah.
If you have to groom
him. Oh man.
Yeah.
You know what? Today will tell a lot. Look, I want to say this may be an isolated incident, but again, with 5 bowlers, it's difficult no matter how you look at it, especially in Australia. But I don't want to just put this in the coffin just yet, because I want to see one more game.
No. I totally agree with someone. I think I was surprised we even made 308. That shows there is something in the
Yeah.
team. They'll come back. 308 was
Yeah,
a
no,
Batting
you
is
know,
not a problem. I think. I mean, I'm okay with. I mean, if there is any point of debate to have, whether you should have Hardik just as a batsman, I'm for it. I mean, you think you still need Hardik. I don't see any other batsman, who can claim a spot and say, okay, drop Hardik because he cannot bowl. That
Mhm.
I don't think we have that kind of a strong batsman. I mean, yes, we have Manish Pandey in the ranks, but I mean, will I have Manish at 6 instead of Hardik? Probably not. Will I try Manish in place of Shreyas Iyer? Maybe. But I don't know. I mean, it's
yeah, look, I want
either
to
one of
give
them. I
these
cannot
youngster a
have,
little bit more rope because I thought the
yeah,
Shreyas Ayers and the
yeah.
Shubman Gill.
Shreyas
I
Iyer
want
has
to give them a
earned,
little rope. Okay,
yeah.
let them fail. We lose the match, we lose the match. Just
Yeah. So with that in mind, and just for just to move on from just to change the topic to cover the time.
I just want to
Any
add one thing
any
quickly.
changes to the
Hold on,
11?
hold on. Vinny has something. Okay, go ahead, Vinny.
So, yeah, one last thing I want to add is we should not assume that Australia simply steamrolled us completely or not. There are some very moments that they won, but the way Warner and Finn started, they also had butterflies. They had a clear plan. What they went was they ran between the wickets very well. They preserved the wicket and they attacked. So it's not that there was no consideration for what good a team we have. So I mean,
Yeah.
they respected the team. They went through phases and they did well. And I think there's a lot to learn from how Australia went about the innings. So I think these guys are pretty smart. They will pick up something, and they should just not drop the shoulders. That's all I
Yeah.
wanted to say. That
No, 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 not at all. I mean,
Exactly.
this is
Yeah.
one off.
yeah.
Exactly. That was my first question. Like, can we continue to be hopeful and say, okay, hey, the the tour's worst game is over, and let's see what
Mhm.
happens, moving forward. I mean, it's a long tour. I mean, there are 9 more international games.
Michael Vaughan has already put India in the coffin already. Test to 20, so
Yeah.
he think they're not going to win a thing.
Sure.
But
I
anyway,
mean, yeah. I mean, he might be right too, but I mean,
yeah.
I feel personally, I feel it's too soon to to give a verdict like that. Okay, so today, they're gonna go for toss in 15 minutes.
20 minutes, huh? So,
Any
yeah.
any change to the team?
I would keep the same team.
I think Sani will be dropped and somebody will be gotten. I think.
The
Yeah,
only other person they could bring in is Thakur, right? For
yeah.
Shasani. That's it.
Thakur, and there's another paceman, right? Don't we have another paceman in?
No, I think that's it.
Natarajan.
Oh,
I don't
Nattu
think
is
he made
there.
the
Yeah.
ODI team.
No, he is.
He did. They added him.
Did he?
He's
They
in
added
the
him?
ODI team. Yes,
Yeah.
I would bring in Nattu because my theory, so just to conclude on that 5 bowler, 6 bowler strategy, right? For me, I'm okay with 5 bowler strategy if you have that kind of a variety. But having 3 right arm pacemen, and again, not all of them are at their best form, is it beats the purpose. But just for the variety, I'm not towards this theory of going with 6 bowlers if it's going to hamper your batting. And also, I mean, especially with this 375 kind of a match, I'm not sure if a 6 bowler would have done anything. Right? I mean, it was not about the bowler. If it was not about a particular batsman, you can say that, it's like, oh, you dropped Archer because he would have got Warner for sure, right? But it was nothing like that, and it's just the way everybody batted. It was a batting deck. I mean, you can see, like, even with that capitulation at the top, India still scored 308, right? Which is awesome. I mean, if you had just batted first and scored 308, we would have been hopeful at the halfway mark, right? So 5 bowler, I'm kind of okay with with, especially with this team. There's no option to go for a 6 bowler. Even if you bring in Tewatia, who would you drop? Would you drop Shreyas Iyer? Because I don't think I will drop Hardik Pandya. So will you drop Shreyas Iyer and get Tewatia or anybody else or Krunal? I don't know, because top 4 again, Dhawan, Agarwal, Kohli, and Rahul are fixed. I mean,
No, I would
I
put it slightly
personally
different.
have something against Dhawan, but I mean, I'm okay.
Me too.
If Tivatia has to come in, my order would be forget left-right combination. I go with Rahul, and Mayank at the top, and then I go with Virat. Then that's the top three that we go there, and then Shreyas number 4, and number 5 would be Pandya. 6 would be Tiwatia. 7 would be Jadeja for me, and then.
Can you see my big smile? I don't see Dhawan in my team.
He's not on my team either.
I know. I still believe, having Dhawan is a huge backward step, because I'm 200% sure he's not going to play 2023 World Cup. So,
What do you think of it? Do you think Dhawan came because Rohit is not in? Because
those 200s in IPL was one of the worst things that could happen to Indian cricket.
Right.
And again, also the pick
he was pretty much out of contention. He was dropped from test.
Experience in the pick model. Rohit
just his experience.
Yeah, Rohit ildale irodrinda maybe they would back, again it's that right left combination.
I wouldn't even, to be honest with you, if I was anybody, I wouldn't pick him at all, because there is no potential for the next year. 2021 year along.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he's officially dropped from test, officially dropped from T20I, and now with the twin 100. Yes, he could have been given a chance with T20 team, because the T20 World Cup is just 1 year away and it's in India. So yeah, Dhawan might do something, but one dayers, I'd say it's a
look. Okay,
as a batsman, if you pick Dhawan, right? Ishan Kishan could have gone there. Like, sorry? If you wanted a left-hand batsman, Ishan Kishan would have gone in the trip. Any other left batsman would have gone there.
Illa, sir, I would have gotten that young kid Padikal. If he fails, throw him out. He's got a long leash. Just groom him at 10. Not that he's any better than anybody else.
Yeah,
Padikal would have. I would have had Padikal.
Not for Australia. It's a bit. I mean, I love him. I'm sure he will play for India, but it might be too soon to get him on.
No. You can't groom courses if you're going to aim for 2023 World Cup. You have to prepare the people there.
Exactly.
2023 World Cup. That's what I think. Like England did in 2015, right? When they lost to Bangladesh and exited. They dropped quite a few players. I can't get any names.
Okay, let's assume for a minute.
Quite a few who still had a good 2 years in their career, because they knew you're not going to play for 4 years from now. I'm going on a limb on this. Again, nobody's guaranteed. If the T20 happens, IPL happens in April as we think it should. Okay, and let's say if that young kid has a similar series, he could be a good contention for the 2021 World Cup in India. Yeah.
Having said that,
I agree with you. The thing is, you don't have to wait for April next year.
Yeah.
Going on an Austria tour, building confidence on Austria tour is
No. I'm going there. But having done that, with that in mind, I would have taken. They took 18, 20 people. What another one would have? They would have taken one more and groomed him. Just being with them would give him a tremendous amount of confidence for the runs that he got.
Yeah.
He's a backward on getting him the opener is a backward stance. I don't care if he gets 2 or more hundreds. It doesn't matter.
Even with that 60 odd whatever he got yesterday, Dhawan. I would still attribute Hardik's wicket to Dhawan slowing down in the middle overs as well. I mean, with Dhawan, I might be biased against Dhawan. I might be finding reasons, there are some genuine concerns. The way he bats.
Let me add one more thing, Kashyapa. He got 20 or 30 runs in the first 10, 15, 20 balls, okay? Then he got his 50 at the 57th ball or 58th ball. That means he slowed down that innings tremendously after he was very well, starting really well and set very well. Again,
He had to, because he was also an anchor with all the wickets falling around him. He had to play some role to salvage the innings too, so I understand. And then he got out, so I'm not defending him, but I mean, run a ball at that point, he did what he's supposed to do in the match scenario, right?
No, I have to grudgingly accept your point.
I know. Here's the other thing. Let me bring up one more thing, I want to get your guys' thoughts, right? We have 3 formats: T20, 50 overs, and you have a test. T20, we have a glut of talent because we have the IPL and there's tons of people that you
Yeah.
can slot in no matter what. Test, we also have a glut of talent because you have all of your senior players and you have all of these test specialists, whether it's Vihari or Pujara or Saha or whatever. So you have a lot. Your T20 team is solid. Your test team is solid. But I'm very concerned about the 50 over team because you can see we only selected about 14 or 15 players, 11 who play. And of those people, I agree. I'm not a fan of Dhawan. He's not going to make it to the World Cup too old. I wouldn't play Manish Pandey because I would rather give time for Shreyas Iyer to get time in the middle and groom and all that. At the end of the day, you're just 1 or 2 injuries away from just not even having a good ODI team at all that you can even send to like play somewhere. So I would rather, like we were talking earlier, bring in some of this T20 talent and throw them in for the next 3 years,
Correct.
so that they can get ready for this World Cup coming. Because
absolutely, yes, absolutely.
What you said was spot on. What you said was spot on. 2 injuries and we're at the dirt shit team.
Yeah,
pretty much, right?
You need to bring these youngsters in. You don't have time. You have to bring them in. Get that, whether they're the water boys and they're watching and they have they're there just to soak up educational, or if they're getting in the middle, hopefully, and you're resting some players and these guys are playing, they need time in the middle. There's no other way to go because you're just 1 or 2 injuries away from not even having a team to send overseas at this point.
We all totally agree with your point there. And that 2 injuries have already happened. If you don't know, Rohit Sharma, there is Rohit Sharma, and then half of Hardik Pandya.
Right, that's true.
Right, so we already have 2 injuries, which is already hampering our Indian team.
Yeah,
because of Rohit Sharma.
I think this is a great point. Yeah, I agree.
And Rohit Sharma's injury is not that huge a dent. If you had not picked Dhawan, because that's only because of Rohit Sharma you picked Dhawan.
Right.
You know what? Since you brought this point up, I have something. Kohli said, I don't know what's happening. If the captain doesn't know what's happening to Rohit Sharma, there is some mystery there which we all don't know. Why he played the finals and got a beautiful 60 or 70, whatever that was, and he was dropped. What is that? Why did he not tour with it?
Somo, you have to look at it from the other side of the fact here, because captain not knowing all these other intricacies is not new. The new thing is it's a good news is that the captain is now actually speaking his mind and
correct
saying, because having that confusion is nothing new, but the captain saying that what the hell is happening, I am confused, is a new thing, and that we should be happy about it, that somebody is actually talking their minds, and okay to not just stay silent and just accept whatever.
I think that that was frustrating. My goodness, how could a captain not know his leading batsman in all the 3 formats? What's happening with him? He thought he's going to travel with him. He's not even traveling. After he got his 60 or 70 in the finals, he was I think, what, from day 1 to today, that was something.
Those 3 weeks, starting with his injury in IPL, sitting out, and then he's not being selected, and then less than an hour after the selection news broke out, Mumbai Indians Twitter handle puts out a tweet with Rohit Sharma video, shadow batting and in the nets, and then Shastri says he will be injured, Ganguly says we don't know what's happening, and then he's selected for tests as a conditional basis. And now they say he's not available for first 2 tests.
Two of the biggest people in BCCI, Ganguly and Kohli, doesn't know, is a mystery to me. I think I don't care what it is. There is more to it than you and I know. I don't know what's happening. So
on that note, I know there are already people angry about this and angry on Rohit Sharma, because they feel that he chose IPL against India, and he came back from injury not being 100% and played the final or whatever. I personally am okay at this point, considering that there are high stakes, and it's up to the player to do that. And I think he already knew, maybe because he's the best judge of his body and the injury, and he thinks playing a T20I today is not going to improve or diminish my chances of playing tests 2 months later. I don't know. Any quick thought on that? I think we are coming to the close. But
Vinny, what do you have? Vinod?
I think medical conditions are assessed. We should trust the people, right people who are doing this. Communication could be still a problem because it involves intricacies of whom do you communicate, what you do. So I think at the end of the day, if I was a captain of a team and to hell, man, it's a final, I'll go play with it. So he
Yeah,
prepares
same
for
here.
himself,
Exactly.
wanting
Yeah.
to do that, right? So he'll just play for it, right? So that, I mean, the point still remains that Kohli being clueless, whether he's saying the truth or what, we don't know, but it just presents an awkward moment for Indian cricket. Whereas
Yeah.
the world looks at us, right? The world looks at us in terms of running the organization, in terms of being very open. I mean, we have improved a lot, like it or not, right? We have improved a
The
lot,
world
and
looks up at us. If you
everyone
want.
looks up at us, right? And at this point, when you come and say that, you have no clue, then it raises a lot of
And
it demoralizes your team that's traveling, right?
yeah.
What else
It-
does he have no clue on? Is it
and
just this or something more which you don't know?
the best part is the Bombay guy. He's in. I mean, if it is a Haryana guy or some Jharkhand guy, I
Come
can
on, Bombay.
Bombay guy. How did he? I mean, escape the scrutiny?
Exactly.
I mean, I tell you, this is the first day ನನಗೆ ಅನುಮಾನ ಆಯ್ತದ. Oh no, when he's got injured and that, there is something more to it than you and I know.
Yeah.
Obviously, even Kohli says the same thing. So I and Kohli are in the same team. That's good.
I think.
Yeah, but one thing,
especially
one
for
thing that I noticed was, one thing I wanted to call out was, and this is something if I get a chance to any of the people closer to the Indian cricket organization, I will ask. There's been emphasis for the last few years about the process than the result, right? Everybody has a role to play. They go through the process. Is that mentality coming in the way of creating single stars every match? At the end of the day, right, you can go by a process and as a team win the match, but many matches are won by one guy becoming a superstar, right? Going out of the way and playing a great game.
Not when you're in the process, though, right?
No. You can still be a process to have a consistent team. Everybody plays a role. You play a role in your game and stuff, right? But once you play a role and when you get that momentum, right? Like suddenly somebody turns into a star, right? Like the England match where Maxwell and Kerry just changed the game out of there, right? They were not playing a role there. Like somebody stands up, and the Sharjah match where Tendulkar stood up, right? And the Kohli that the chase he did in one of the one days, or Dhoni who did the chase in about. I am just seeing from the last few IPL matches I've seen or the last few one days I've seen, where is that star? Where is that one man or one person standing up and making a marvelous inning and changing the game upside down, right? That's not happening. I mean, they're just going through the process and, okay, we have a 10 over target, we have a 20 over target, and they're just bowling, and every bowler is coming and doing the same thing. But there is that, you don't have to be angry, you don't have to be frustrated.
You don't have that X factor anymore.
X factor, where is that X factor is what I'm looking for.
I felt the same too, especially with this ODI, the other day, and because the last time we played, I remember the last ODI series India played before the COVID was in New Zealand, and they lost badly 3-0, right? And it was pretty much the same template. We could already see that, and obviously, there was no Dhoni, and it was Kohli and Rohit, and they were all Rohit wasn't there again. The fact that these guys, especially the Indian team now, India, and these days England, and of course generally Australia, they have been successful, and most of the successful ODI team at least, you can you can define a brand of game they play, right? And India used to have that too, but these days you can see that there's no real Indian brand of ODI cricket anymore. There's no. What is the Indian template? I mean, you prepare a plan. Yes, I mean there will be some out of the blue games, where somebody plays a miraculous innings, or I mean you also lose. I mean you're not invincible.
No, I think India has a template. India created a template recently, but that template strongly depends on certain players or certain circumstances. See, we used to die on the
right? Rohit, Dhawan, and Kohli. Having getting 200, at least 200 from the top three was the template.
That is one template. The other template was take the game deep. Right? The newest template that India had taken was take the game deep, play all the 50 overs, take it deep, and we've gone the other extreme. We take even in 41st over, you don't see that momentum at all when you're chasing because you're taking the game very deep. we had a template, but that's not going to work always. So
Yeah.
you have to, that template has died. You have to get a new template now.
That template kind of died in 2019 World Cup, especially against England, if you remember, where there was, and there was a lot of criticism against Dhoni and Kedar Jadhav, and like, where is that intent? Where was that momentum? That it
Look,
never.
ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಇಂಡಿಯಾದಲ್ಲಿ ಇನ್ನೊಂದಿದೆಪ್ಪ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿ ಪೂಜೆ. It's always depending on an individual of one or two. The Dhoni, Kohli. Look, it's good, but again, it's the team that wins or loses for you.
Yeah.
For example, Steve Smith. Okay, you know what? If he doesn't score, they're not going to go about Steve Smith or Finch or Warner or again, it's the 5 or 6 or 7 people that come into the. They all focus on that. The Cricket Australia focuses on that. For England, Ian Morgan set a template. It's not one person. It's 5, 6, 7 people that can win the game on any given day. Even on the India.
Ian Morgan dalli innondu, I mean, he went a step ahead, and he didn't even set the role for any player. It was not Butler's role or Bairstow's role or Stokes' role. It was the role of an opener. So if I ask you to open tomorrow, you do the same job.
Nenne aitalappa, Bairstow
number 4
and got a brilliant 86.
One of the best, one of the best T20.
So again, you're right.
This week actually sucker exciting agide. I mean, did you see how West Indies went about in the first game?
Wow, yeah.
They were 50 for no loss in 3 overs.
Yeah.
And then 55 for 5 in 6 overs.
6 overs.
And then Pollard had an amazing innings.
Oh, brilliant innings.
They scored 180 finally. But guess what? Because of that the DLS thing, the target was reduced to 176. Can you believe that? So they were given 4 runs short, 5 runs short, because 181 was the original target. They gave 176 because the rain, when it rained, West Indies had lost 5 wickets, right? They were 60 for 5 or something. So based on that resources, that 180 they scored was not really counted as a, as a positive.
But New Zealand beat them very easy.
And Jimmy Neesham, of all the players, Jimmy Neesham had a great. Oh, by the way, I'm looking at the score now. New Zealand is 215 for 2 in the 18th over.
Oh, 2 now. My God. They were 50 for 2 itappa. Even out like that.
Greg Phillips is 98 of 44 batting with 8 sixers.
Oh my.
They still have 13 balls to spare and they are 215 for 2. I don't know. ನಾನು ಸುಮ್ಮನೆ ಸ್ಕೋರ್ ನೋಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೆ ಟೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್.
Okay, ನಾನು ನೋಡಬೇಕಲ್ಲ.
Okay. Game is usually on ESPN.
Oh, okay. I don't have it.
Oh man.
Oh my God, they were 2 down. Guptill was playing really well and he got out at 40 and 35 or that.
Yeah.
Oh, they're 2 just still down. That's great.
Wow.
So what the toss is done?
It should be. I just refreshed. I don't see the toss.
ಏನಪ್ಪ ಇದಂತೂ ಕ್ರಿಕೆಟ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ನಮ್ಮ ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು ಹಾಕಿಲ್ಲ ಯಾವುದು ವಿಲೋನಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಿಲ್ಲ ಇನ್ನು.
Okay. Yeah, I think we are past 1 hour. You guys, it's toss time, so we'll have hopefully we'll have an exciting game again. Actually, no. Personally, I don't care whether it's boring. I just want the series to be level, but it's just me.
Look, if it's 1-1 is a lot better than 2-0. 2-0 will be a disaster.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. 1-1 may not win, but at least something. 2-0 is done pretty much.
Of all the tours, generally when any team tours Australia, it's the state of mind and the and how free and hungry you are will depend on will decide the way the tour goes. From all the tours I've seen, and especially with this IPL and everybody having that good feeling, I was kind of quite optimistic about Indian tour, but with this Rohit Sharma conundrum thrown in, I'm now kind of
Okay, let me be on the other side. I'm going to say 2-1 and you guys say 2-0. It's a 3-match 1-day series, right?
2-1 who? 2-1 who?
2-1 India.
Okay.
Wow. Man. He's an optimist, all right.
sometimes you go with the heart. Let's back them. Let's back them for 2-1.
Yeah.
I have a feeling all three series will be 2-1 by somebody. 2-1, 2-1, 2-1.
It's good about ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿದೆ ಅದು. It's good. You know what? We should do this because this is what energizes everybody, and also it's not like ಅವ್ರು ಹೊಡೆದ್ರು ಇವ್ರು ಹೊಡೆದ್ರಕ್ಕಿಂತ why, what happened. This is the deep into this, and I'm glad. It's nice.
Australia won the toss and chose to bat.
Yeah, Finch won the toss, elects to bat against India.
And Sydney, bat first. I wanted a bat first 320 plus kind of a
283 score.
283. 283 ಆದ್ರೆ ಇಂಡಿಯಾ ಗೆಲ್ಲತ್ತೆ.
283 is the score today.
Yeah. 44th over ಏನಪ್ಪ ಹಾಗಾದ್ರೆ? In the 44th over.
What's the team combination? I don't see anything. All right.
Team change ಇದೆಯೇನೋ?
No team news yet. Pitches look a bit confused. No, there's no team news yet. Okay. All right.
Where did you see?
Where
did you see the toss?
Yeah, Cricket news alle 2:12 p.m. Australia won the toss and chosen to bat.
Yeah, ಅದು ನಂಗೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಬಂತು ಅದೇ ಆಸ್ಟ್ರೇಲಿಯಾ ಬಂದ ಟಾಸ್ ಅಂತ NDTV ಹಾಕ್ತಾ ಒಂಚೂರು.
News alert ಬಂದ್ಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ. But yeah, no team news yet. Yeah, but I don't think they will, except for Saini. I think we will have all 21 players. Oh no, wait, Stoinis is out for sure.
Stoinis is out.
So they'll probably play Chris Green. It was a like for like, I think.
You know what? That's a good opening for him. He wouldn't have otherwise played.
Yeah.
They talk very highly.
What happened to Stoinis?
Stoinis hamstring, I think.
Complete
is over alla monne.
Yeah. 2 balls and out put down.
Yeah.
By the way, I was surprised about the most important thing I learned about the first one-day match was I hardly saw any mask in the stadium.
Yeah.
And the COVID rate in Sydney is so low, and still there are no masks in the stadium. And New South Wales actually allowed a gathering of 30 people indoor and 50 people outdoor at home. You can actually invite 50 people to your house.
Wow.
And
Adelaide has a problem, I guess, Alva.
Adelaide, yeah.
But I'm surprised. I'm like, it's another part of the world. It's still a kind of a developed world, Australia, and we are like, for every small thing we are debating about right wing, left wing, mask, no mask, and all this stuff.
This country is getting too political anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's a shame they're putting politics above the medical.
So it's not Cameron Green, it's Moises Henriques.
Oh my God, ಅವನಿಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಬಂದಪ್ಪ.
I know, I didn't even know he was in the 50.
ಇದ್ದ ಅವನ ಟೀಮಲ್ಲಿ ಇದ್ದ, but I never thought he was going to come in.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow, whatever, you know what, they know better, I guess.
Yeah.
ನಮ್ಗೇನ್ ಮಾಡಿಯಪ್ಪ, ಯಾಕೆ ಏನ್ ಟೀಮ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ಯಪ್ಪ ಅಣ್ಣ?
ಇಂಡಿಯಾಗೆ Shami. Wow, Saini is still playing. No change. India no change.
No change. Okay, bidu.
Wow.
They don't have much to change, honestly.
They have to change the result.
Yeah.
They just have to change the result. They don't have
I would at least get Gill for Dhawan.
That would be nice.
He is out to get Dhawan. I mean, I don't care about him, but he's totally out to get Dhawan.
I think that's a better choice, Shubham Gill, and then push Jadeja up the order if you want to.
But I think it's the. I mean, we need. I mean, if they are so hell bent on right and left, then yeah, like you said, Padikkal or somebody. Yeah.
Bring in Padikkal, Adhe 20 nodidi bida.
Yeah.
No. Who expected him to get a beautiful 50 at the opening of IPL? Okay, nobody expected it, but he got it. So, but the way look at it, he batted well. It's not the number of runs, the quality of batting, what I liked about him.
Yeah, but he's quite fearless. So, I mean, for an opener for him, even if he, yes, I mean, we saw that, he still needs to, I mean, especially if he has to bat with Kohli, he needs more stamina and endurance to be running so much.
Imagine Mayank playing with Padikkal, okay? And number 3, Yadav, Sky
bartane.
So tell me what, like, whose retirement series this is?
Huh?
Whose retirement series this is?
Dhawan, hopefully.
Dhawan and Jadeja, probably.
Jadeja illa.
No, I think Jadeja will stay.
How about Rahane in the Test series?
Oh, this is
maybe.
last.
Really?
He shouldn't even be there, in my opinion.
For the tester? Hey,
Yeah.
Rahane. Wow.
I wouldn't pick him in any side. Sorry.
Yeah. So I think the Test, there are going to be some retirements. I'm waiting to see what will be the state of Pujara, because Test cricket is changing. I don't know how much Pujara will stay there.
Yeah,
So
true.
Rahane, Pujara, Dhawan, for all of them, it might be a retirement series at this point. Until unless they go.
Gill and Shreyas and Padikkal and they all come. Let them come. Let them fail. I don't care.
Maybe Moises Hendricks will retire after that.
Around, but they still managed to get 300 plus. So if they can restrict Australia to a total around 300.
All right. All right. Enjoy the game. We'll.
Okay, Aidama. Good conversation.
Right.
We will come back. Do we come back this
The
Thursday?
ODI series will be over, and then we'll. I think the first game of T20 will also be over.
Do we come back on Thursday night again? Or?
Yeah, let's resume Thursday then.
Okay,
Right.
Saripa. Okay, great.
We can discuss later.